Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, people of the internet. I am GK Racer 31C, and today we're going to be going over a few things that I thought I did well in the most recent Minotaur game that I played last night. And it made me think that I should probably make a video like this just because I see people being aggressive in games and not really understanding why, even people in my own fleet, especially with Minotaur, and they don't understand why they're being aggressive in certain instances, or more often than not, it's just the timing of said issues. So I really wanted to talk about specifically on Riposte. This is one of the better maps to look at when it comes to being able to get aggressive relatively easy and pretty quickly into the game, actually, as well. You just have to look at the matchmaking, see what exactly you can do, and you just look at positions that enemies are taking, and then you can just most oftentimes just drive through the middle. And there's one of three different ways that you can kind of drive into the B cap, and nothing's ever going to take it from you. And you basically just drive at one of their spawns, whether it's the north spawn, the south spawn, or the middle spawn. You kind of have your choice. In the game that I'm going to be showing you, we're going to be driving up to the north spawn. But this is specifically from a middle rotation from if you spawn beyond this map, this is specifically for this spawn. But this map is really good at isolating crossfires on you. You can just kind of isolate 1v1s and just basically say, I just get to take your life for free. So we're going to see that in this game especially. So just to go over the build real quick, as we look at the build here, pretty straightforward at this point. I mean, I feel like I've shown it before, but I'll show it again just to make sure. We are running Azure Cheshire as our main commander here, fully maxed out 16-4. So obviously our base trait is minus 3% cruiser main battery reload time and minus 7% damage to our citadel. So even if we do mess up, it doesn't really hurt too bad, too bad. So that's always good. Basically negating about half of an Arthas plane with that. We have Piercer in the first slot, Bounce Right Back in the second, which is Cheshire's entire unique perk, which is 7 degrees of, what's it called? 7 degrees of nerfed pen angles of armor piercing, and that also applies to semi armor piercing as well. Shells that are fired against your ship. We have Punch Through, which is giving us even more DPM. Fixated, you don't need the steering. As long as you run, even if you run supercharges and you feel like you need a little bit more steering, just, I hate to say it, but kind of just get better positioning. It's relatively what's going to help you at the end of the day. So running Fixated, it helps especially against destroyers, being able to pinpoint your shots on against them. So Fixated, and then Refill Station, because we're playing this game for fun. I have more fun with Refill Station than I do with Fully Packed. I recognize the power in Fully Packed, but also 10% DPM is 10% DPM, so I'm taking Refill Station. Our inspirations are Hayase Yuka, which is another 3 degrees of armor piercing debuff fired against our ship. So we're up to 10 degrees with this full build, and our Yuka is 16-4 as well. And then we are also running Andrew the Lip as our other inspiration, which as soon as we stack 30 shells, which is basically instant with Minotaur, as soon as you stack 30 shells, you're doing an extra, at least since I have 16-3 on him, an extra 14.5% damage. So overall, our DPM is absolutely through the moon. Our theoretical DPM, we're only behind Colbert, but Colbert doesn't get the pen angles that we have. It can't get all its guns off at once. It's maximum 7. So it's, yeah, this is the build that I run. This is the build that I've run. I'd say that I have like 400 or 500 games with this build, roughly. I don't know, something like that. But I've used this build quite a bit. It's extremely fun. So with that out of the way, let's get into the gameplay. So now as we load into this game, I'm seeing riposte, and then immediately my eyes perk up, and we get the B spawn. So, north and south, or each side of the map, doesn't really matter. As long as we get the B spawn, we basically know that we're guaranteed at least a 200k game with at least 3 kills. It's just the way this rotation works. And this one's a little bit special. This is going to be one of those... I'm not going to give it away yet. But this is a pretty special one. Because of the fact that this game has a set of metal, or a medal that I get twice in this game. I don't remember ever getting 2 of them in the same game before. So, immediately after we get the B spawn here, we look at the team list. We saw Dodo was in a Janon on the other team, so immediately we know that we're up against some pretty good competition, because he's part of our Risers Cup team with Task Force Leviathan. So, I know that he's a good player. I see that their Brisbane's running Murray, so I'm expecting him to be running Radar. I'm expecting him to be a full stealth build running Radar, because that's the only reason why you'd ever run Murray. And even then, it's not a good build. I just could not recommend against it more. And immediately we see Worcester running Dewey, backing up off spawn, so the A side is probably going to get run down pretty hard. And then the guys over at C, they decide, hey, this guy's going to be doing a really good maneuver here in B. Let's go towards B. So we have absolutely no help at C. A, we know that we're maybe going to have a little bit of help there, but it's going to be a little rough around the edges. So we see the Kremlin get spotted early up there, so we know that at least one of the 457 battleships is up to the north. And we're kind of just sitting here biding our time. We see Hayate to the south, so we know we're not gonna have to worry about him. A starts getting capped kind of early, and we're thinking to ourselves, all right, that's got to be Kleber, or there's potentially a cruiser that's getting on that cap. So we see the Worcester here. We're gonna take some shots at him, because these are just free shots. Nothing's gonna spot us in this spot, unless if that Kleber is on the inside, like between A and B, on that B side of A. If he's just driving through that gap there, we'll get spotted here pretty soon. And of course we do get spotted, so that's what we're expecting, but at this point with how we're spotted, it could be on the other side over there, over kind of towards that Worcester, just out in that direction, because our range goes that far. So I'm not popping this radar, and sure enough he does get spotted. 12.4, we're going to take a few shots here, but it's not going to be that consequential. And our Brisbane, our 16-4 Farncombe Brisbane, who is actually a radar Brisbane, that's the only reason why that Hayate was spotted, he goes down over at C, so now C is completely wide open, and there's at least a Kleber, a Janon, Worcester, and Kremlin all to the north that have already been spotted, and things just keep popping up and keep getting spotted up there over at A. I'm trying to play with my concealment here to make sure that Kleber isn't spotting me while I'm shooting. The Aki gets spotted up there as well, so at this point it's Aki, Sevastopol, and then Louisiana also is looking at mid, so at this point I'm just questioning positioning here. I see that with their positions up there to the north, I will be able to push into B here pretty soon. I just need to make sure that the Aki, or not the Aki, the Louisiana needs to be the first to die here, so our Kremlin's coming in here. He's going to be spawning this Louisiana. I'm trying to poke my front turrets out here, potentially get some shots. At this point, I know if I shoot, the Worcester will spot me. So I was holding my fire there for a little bit, but I saw the Aki and wanted to get a little bit on him. But as it ends up turning out, that Z44 that was getting run down by Kleber up to the, he's all the way up in A2 now. He ended up torping and dev striking the Kleber, so we're not going to have to worry about him. But Hayate and the Brisbane to the south are going to be an issue, and at this point we see how much health the Louisiana's on, and we're like, okay, we got to make a play now. At this point, this is where we're going to turn this game around. We're basically just going to go up and win this. So we see the Brisbane there. He's going to be an issue. He's too far away to Citadel us. He has to be within 12.3 in order to Citadel us with superchargers, and 11.2 in order to Citadel us without superchargers. So, and he's just firing HE anyway. So we're just going to munch on this Louisiana. He goes down. 80,000 damage. Pretty mediocre start to the game. But at this point, I know that I can kind of just sit here. Brisbane backed up. The Hayate is not spotting us. These are probably Hayate Torps, so I know that I have to at least avoid these. And I'm just shooting, just a simple damage farmer. So we're going to chill here for a second. We see that the Kremlin's reversing out for us, so we don't exactly want to get aggressive here too quickly and get ourselves in a crossfire between that Kremlin and the Aki. We see that the Worcester is also kind of moving towards the mid from that A side up there. We get spotted here in a weird spot. I'm expecting it's probably from the Kremlin, and that's why I back up a little bit, and we do end up going unspotted. So, and the Kremlin's firing HE, I guess. That's a play. So Janan gets spotted here, very close to us, and at this point, this is where I'm like, okay, we're gonna go for this. I saw the Aki drop was also coming in, so we only take 2 torps from that. We radar the Janan because the Kleber's already dead and the Hayate is too far away, so we'll have that radar left for the Hayate if we need it, but this, we need to get aggressive here. We need to get proactive. So we get Janan super low, then we see the Worcester out there, and we're gonna start taking some shots at him. There's the deep waters that we're gonna miss. Janan starts sitting on that island, and I'm kind of just looking for his bow at this point. I see his bow, I take one more shot at the Worcester, we take this one shot Janan, that shot will kill him, and we immediately go back to the Worcester, and wham! That is our, spoiler alert, first of 2 double strikes this game. So, and we're at 140k, Aki's still healthy, Kremlin's still pretty healthy, Seva's still healthy. I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is maybe, as long as my team is bad enough, this should be 300k. But at this point, since we've basically just carried the middle of this map and just beat everything down here in the middle, it's going to be hard for the enemies to even really make a proactive play against us. So this game is probably basically already over, and this is just about just seeing how much damage and how much farming we can get for the rest of this game. So, trying to lob the Aki, I couldn't. Seva's at the edge of the gun range. I'm not expecting to be able to hit him at all. I don't care about being spotted here at all. I'm in a super safe spot, and I'm just going to use these islands and just get proactive around these islands against these guys. I'm pretty confident that I can take the 1v1 against the Kremlin and live, like, basically no matter what. But since we've got the Janan smoke here, might as well use it. So, go for that unsaturated stern on the Kremlin. Gonna get a few pens there. That quickly gets saturated. We transition to the superstructure, which also is unsaturated. We get a few pens there, and we force him to go forward. So, a little bit of that damage runs away from us. We're just kind of chilling here for a little bit. Aki drop coming in. We're gonna accelerate out of that. I'm just looking here, so, and I should have started shooting the Seva a little bit sooner. I should have recognized that he was in my gun range and actually moving forward, but that's on me, so we're going to end up losing out on that kill, unfortunately. But, I mean, it is what it is, luck of the draw at this point. So, Rhode Island's going to finish him off, or Rhode Island's getting proactive on this Kremlin, so I'm expecting this Kremlin to start reversing here. At some point, still even watching the replay, I don't know when it happened, but at some point, I got one of my left side torp tubes completely blown off, but guess what? It's not going to matter. So this guy starts reversing. We're expecting it. We see, we aim basically almost right on the white line, and then we see the Aki also starts coming out here, taking torps, unfortunately just losing his life before he can really take advantage of him. So, I'm expecting him to potentially slow down there, so we put 4 round line and 4 behind it. And we know that this Kremlin, with his torpedo damage reduction, we're gonna have to at least fire our guns a little bit to really help on this guy. 4 torps go into the Aki, and 3 torps go into the Kremlin, and he's gone. So, that is our second double strike this game. So, at this point, this Brisbane, I'm hoping to get the Kraken off of him. This was a pretty frustrating night up until this game. I was trying to do the Angel Rambo challenge and just getting the absolute worst teammates of all time, so I was a little bit fired up by this point in the night already. So seeing this game be a decent game, I was pretty excited. But this Brisbane is just, I don't really know what he's doing. And we saw a smoke screen over there earlier, which can only mean that it must have been the Brisbane smoke, because look at where the Hayate was last spotted, so. And he just dies to 1 torp. So, you freak out a little bit with the camera there, I was a little pissed off, is what it is. So, I'm going to skip forward a little bit, just because it's just kind of boring, just driving around, just sailing to try to find an enemy D that we don't know where it is. So, we're going to skip forward to what is that, 4 minutes and 1 second left. So we see the points, we have all 3 caps, we're taking up really high, so I just decide to pop the radar just because I'm like, nah, whatever, we'll just see what we can catch. And we end up catching the Hayate, so I'm like, okay, I actually might be able to get this Kraken here, and potentially all of this guy. So, and we didn't really touch the Kleber earlier, so this is basically our obligatory XP gain right here on this guy. Unfortunately, just narrowly avoid getting the Dev Strike on him, but we do end up getting the Kraken, and he goes down. And that is a pretty quick and easy, I would say, 268,000 damage and 3965 XP on that game. So, and like I said, it's probably the most consistent and easiest rotation, at least for me, in the entire game. Every single time that I spawn middle on that map, it is basically almost guaranteed a 200,000 damage game. There's a reason why with Colbert, I got a 351,000 5100 game on this map, doing the exact same thing, basically. And that one I had to sit in front of an Ohio, Janon, Zhao, and Z52 for like 3 minutes, having to just, in a horrible crossfire, just having to just beat them down one by one. But, man, I wish I had a recording of that game. But Xbox is the way Xbox is. So, but if any of you have anything that you want to say in the comments, feel free to do so. If you like this more educational type of video, I'll keep doing them in the future if you want me to. If you don't want me to, tell me, kick rocks, do something else. So, I appreciate it, but I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Please like, subscribe, whatever you want to do it. And yeah, take it easy, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.